Okay, welcome to round two. We got Craig Dupree playing Grixis Control versus Sean Stanley on Merfolk.
So you've probably heard by now, Merfolk is a real deck in Vintage. It actually took down Vintage champs. Sean Stanley made some changes from the winning list. Looks like he dropped the Null Rods in favor of some Mutavaults and kind of shifted stuff around a little bit, looking to be a little bit more aggressive. I don't really agree with that change. I feel like Null Rod is very important versus the most powerful decks in the format. But we'll see how it works out for him.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think the Null Rod play is kind of like the reason to play the deck. It's like, yeah, I don't care about all your power. I just have these fish.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's definitely my thought on the deck. Now, I haven't played it in the modern era. I played Fish way back in the day. I remember actually trading for Manta Rider. That was a strictly better Merfolk of the Pearl Trident, and being excited about it so I could sleeve up my Merfolk from way back in the day. Certainly grown a lot in power level, has a redundancy of Lords now. Silvergill Adept draws cards, Curse Catcher counters spells, Phantasmal Image gives you whatever you need, and also can copy the elephant in the room, True Name Nemesis. The card changes things. Jace no longer stabilizes. That guy gets out.
Nope.
Jace can't do anything about it. Nothing you can do. He will kill Jace. So it's very interesting to see how things are changing to deal with him. Now at 3 mana and not having any kind of Lords, any kind of mana acceleration, he is a little slow, so we only see a singleton copy, but he does have True Name to be able to make lots of them.
Yep. Cavernous Souls making all of his creatures uncounterable. Now Craig's on your old Grixis list, and you said he just changed 2 cards, right? He took out a Thoughtseize and a Flusterstorm in favor of 2 Jaces?
Jace and Toxic Deluge.
Oh, yeah.
Deluge could be very good in this matchup at the right time. Now, the problem with Deluge is it's not going to save you that turn before lethal, because you've got to pay so much life against Merfolk. But anytime before then, if you can get rid of a bunch of guys with a Deluge, you're doing really well. Now, Mutavault, of course, is a good trump to that, because he can still untap and push through potentially lethal damage. So this may work in his favor. We've got Ancestral Recall, Curse Catcher on board. He can pay the 1. Let's see, we've got just the Force of Will pitching Phantasmal.
Yep.
And that's just completely uncontested.
Seems worth it. So Craig, I mean, he still has options. He's got the end of turn top activation for his selection. So it looks like Sean is, if he drops a blue source, he's probably going to drop his Merfolk with a Pearl Trident, push for 5 damage.
Yep, that's a bunch of damage. Now that Mutavault not able to do anything this turn, but next turn, even without casting any more spells, is going to be able to push through an extra 3 damage.
Yep.
Island Walk is looking to make this a very fast game. That's another element of the True Name Nemesis. You're not seeing as many copies in the list. Some people might think, oh, is this going to be a 3 or 4 of? In Vintage, so many of the decks are blue. I mean, so many. Especially in the top 8.
Yeah.
You find a lot of the better players tend to gravitate toward blue because it gives them so many different options and ability to really use their play skill. So we'll see.
Taking a walk. Uncontested.
That's potentially good news, being able to spin top and set up a good next turn. Nope, he's keeping that land.
He knew what it was.
He really wants that card. Land plus a Deluge would be a reasonable play here. You'd only have to pay 3 to wipe the whole board.
You'd only have to pay 2 to wipe the whole board.
Oh, you're right. It would only be 2. Because the Lord does not pump himself, so 2 mana, that is definitely a bargain. 2 life is definitely a bargain. He'll need to hit another land, though, otherwise Curse Catcher just counters it.
Yep. And I don't think he has a Trick Bind in that list, or a Stifle, so...
Yeah, and at that point, if he's got the mana to play one of those spells, he's just paying the 1 anyway.
Just paying the 1, exactly.
One of my earliest tournaments that I remember playing in, it was amusing. Somebody had actually brought in Pyroblast because their opponent was playing Daze.
Nice. Alright, so the Lord is gone, but...
Still 5 damage on board.
5 on board, and he's likely got another Lord in hand. He's letting things resolve. Probably has a creature. He's got the Wasteland, taking him off red. Seems pretty relevant. One One thing that I thought was pretty cool is they changed the Oracle text on the creature type of Waterfront Bouncer, and he's now a Merfolk as well.
Yeah, that's a good answer to Blightsteel Colossus.
Grizzlebrand.
Ooh, Snapcaster Mage.
Going to block the Mutavault, taking him off mana. It would have been interesting if he had blocked the Curse Catcher to ensure some of his future spells resolve. He's probably not worried about that, although he did miss a land drop. Oh, but back on track.
Yeah, that Mutavault did need to go at some point. No matter what, he's going to need to either win the game or get rid of it, because that would just keep attacking.
Yeah. So he's kind of backed into a corner right now, playing very defensively.
Oh, there we go.
Dark Confidant, likely going to have to trade with something. And I'm sure Sean will be more than happy to offer the trade.
He's probably going to have a Lord here, the way he's playing with his mana.
Uncounterable Lord would... No, just offering a trade.
Spinning top and seeing just how valuable it will be to have Dark Confidant around next turn.
Yeah.
He could definitely take 3 damage here and use that extra card if it's powerful enough.
Now, Sean may have had a Lord in hand and decided that he would rather offer a trade.
Yeah, I would definitely question that line. We've got Silvergill,
Waterfront Bouncer.
Waterfront Bouncer. There we go. So that's the last card in his hand. Craig verifying, probably explaining to him that it is in fact a Merfolk now. So he's got the Lord of Atlantis for next turn, which would be lethal.
Lethal, and it's uncounterable. So Craig
will take key.
Mana
Certainly
Source.
A dangerous card.
Mana Source plus Time Vault. No. He doesn't even play the key, which could draw him an extra card off the top.
Yeah, Lord of Atlantis. Looks like it's time
Just
to pack
dead.
it in.
Mana Drain.
Left in hand.
Yeah.
Of course, you can always Mana Drain a card played off of Cavern of Souls. Spell won't get countered, but you do get the mana during your next main phase. So that is a trick that you can use to kind of ramp out of a bad spot.
I didn't know that. So as far as cards that Craig will be bringing in, there's 2 bolts, definitely, and that is about it.
Yeah, Pithing Needle would be a reasonable choice, given that he's seen Mutavault. It could
That's
also
true.
stop Curse Catcher from being a problem, though that'd be an unusual line.
Wasteland.
Yeah, Wasteland. There's some activated abilities, and let's see if there's anything really abysmal. I mean, Hurkyl's Recall is completely dead. That's definitely going to come out. That's probably it for really, really bad cards. Now, the counter spells are not amazing versus Sean versus Merfolk if they're not able to defend your own spells. So Force of Will can force through your own bomb, but Mana Drain is much harder to use in that regard. So you could definitely shave Mana Drain. It's really not going to do a ton versus the list. They're going to have Cavern of Souls at least half the time, and it's potentially a card that they're going to mulligan towards. Not that they're going to throw away a great hand that's missing Cavern of Souls, but if the hand's not fantastic and they know they're playing a counter-heavy deck, it wouldn't be unreasonable to try and hit something that just can't be interacted with.
Now the Merfolk player, he's got 2 Dismember in the sideboard, which could be okay. I mean, he probably knows that he saw the Dark Confidant, and he probably assumes Snapcaster. Still probably not great. I don't think he actually needs it. Maybe another Flusterstorm, just to ensure that, I don't know, shenanigans don't happen. Toxic Deluge, although he's probably not aware of that card. Not its existence, but it's the fact that it's in his opponent's list. I don't know what, maybe Trickbind could be taken out.
Yeah, Trickbind's probably as good game 2 as it is game 1. I mean, it's one of those cards that can potentially get you. I wouldn't be very excited about it in Merfolk in particular. I mean, Stifle effects is a full boat of them. That's a different story because you're going to be able to use it as a mana denial plan and kind of supplement a Wasteland effect. But just as a singleton, you're really just hoping to get someone with that. Maybe a Gristlebrand.
Yeah.
You know, something really big that they just couldn't possibly see coming. So it's a fun card, but not necessarily. I mean, you could certainly sideboard it out. It just depends on what you're going for there. If he's going into this tournament really hoping to catch something awesome, then you're going to have to leave it in every game.
Right.
It would definitely be better served as a Flusterstorm, I would say. He's going to have to watch out for Tinker, Yawgmoth's Will, the big spells, and Flusterstorm does a great job at stopping those. I wouldn't necessarily bring in Mindbreak Trap in this matchup,
No.
because sometimes they're just looking to tap out and jam a Tinker early, and they don't necessarily have to play multiple spells before doing that in the same turn.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times you'll see a player go like Island into Mana Crypt into Tinker, and Flusterstorm does a great job there.
Yeah, it does, as long as you have the island up. It's really good, and that's one of the things about the speed of the format. The more you play it, the more you get a feel for it. You tend to remember when you get a first turn kill like that, but they really don't happen that often. More often than not, you're going to be looking at maybe a Soul Ring or a Mox, and then another land on turn 2. So those turn 1 Tinkers are pretty rare. So Sean gonna have to see what Craig has in store for him here before he gets any action.
Both players keep their opening hand. You got
Cavern.
2 mana sources. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is brutal. I mean, it's difficult to play against. It makes it so all of his merfolk are going to be uncounterable. He's still going to be able to counter Phantasmal Image, which is one of the only saving graces of the card.
Image is an illusion?
Yes.
Multiple caverns could work out.
It could. It ends up being a colorless land for the rest of your merfolk, and you have double blue in a lot of their casting costs.
Yeah.
So if they're doing that, they're probably, have at least another island.
Wow, his Ancestral got countered again.
That is rough.
That's bad feels right there. Feel bads.
Yeah, having Ancestral though is pretty good, so we'll see where he goes. If he can get a Snapcaster on that, he could potentially get a lot of value back very quickly. Might even be able to block during combat, draw some cards, live the dream.
That could be huge.
Curse Catcher will make it tough, but some extra mana would certainly help.
If he blocks it.
Yes, that would be an absolute beating. Let's hope for that. That would be fantastic.
Go for it, Craig.
There's a Mutavault. Just one, so not a huge clock so far.
Is he going to get the card advantage? No, he didn't have the, Sean didn't have the Silvergill Adept to draw the card there. Or if he did, he didn't have a second Merfolk to reveal.
Oh, Craig's stuck on 2 mana here. This is a brutal scene.
Not where you want to be.
There's a Regery.
Marrow Regery. 2 damage.
That threatens to be a lot of damage next turn with the double activation on Mutavault.
And playing Merfolk, he could just empty his hand with untapped triggers. I mean, potentially.
Yeah, he could
he's got double blue now, too.
Get some serious work out of that Cavern of Souls here.
Doesn't need an untapped trigger.
Still would have been nice to at least fake the blue.
Yeah.
Does he have Spell Pierce? Yeah, he's got Flusterstorm and stuff, so. Now, his opponent is in a situation where a bluff isn't particularly valid because your opponent has to do whatever they were going to do. Even if you have the counter, they just have to go for it.
Right. Dead on board is dead on board.
So you can't really bluff in that situation.
He's got his land. Play the Toxic Deluge and hope Sean doesn't sacrifice the Curse Catcher.
And forgets to swing with Mutavaults next turn.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a terrible situation.
Just showing him the Wasteland. Yeah, dude, you're getting Wastelanded next turn.
So Mutavault has worked out really well for Sean. We'll see how it works for the rest of the tournament. That extra damage proved to be relevant.
Yeah. And Craig, he had the removal spells, he had the Vamp Tutor to set up, he had the Tinker, just not fast enough.
Yeah, well, this is some more of the new breed of vintage. These are decks that people really didn't think were particularly relevant in the format, and that's 2 rounds of the aggro control, just a ton more creatures than we're used to, along with a bunch of counters, and eschewing all of the really powerful vintage spells like Tinker, Yawgmoth's Will, Demonic Tutor. So this is going to be a brave new world as far as aggro control goes in vintage.
All right, well, that was a pretty cool round 2, and we'll see you in round 3.